Tutankhamun, one of the most mysterious and controversial pharaohs of ancient Egypt. Was he truly murdered? What is the secret behind the mysteries surrounding his death? And why has his tomb remained hidden for so long? Is the discovered tomb really his? As for the pharaoh's curse, what is its connection to him? Tutankhamun is the king of mysteries, with his name associated with the so-called Pharaoh's curse linked to his tomb and the treasures found inside it, untouched by damage or alteration. Tutankhamun has become one of the most famous pharaohs, surrounded by unanswered questions, especially regarding what some consider one of the oldest assassinations in human history. Before delving into this episode, my friends, don't forget to subscribe to the official channel and activate the notification bell. I also share links to my personal accounts on Instagram and Facebook for those who want to follow me and communicate with me to provide any information or comments. In this episode, I will talk about who Tutankhamun was, the pharaoh's curse and its connection to him, the mysterious story of his death, intriguing theories, and finally, the puzzle of his hidden tomb. Tutankhamun was born around the year 1341 BCE and died around the year 1323 BCE, before the Common Era. Of course, it is important to note that in ancient times, years were counted in reverse, with him living to about 18 or 19 years old according to most accounts at the time of his death. Tutankhamun was one of the pharaohs of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt, ruling from around 1333 BCE to 1323 BCE, until his death. Tutankhamun was the son of Pharaoh Akhenaten and Queen Kia, as announced by the Supreme Council of Antiquities in April 2010. The mummy discovered in the Valley of the Kings, known as KV62, is believed to belong to him. His mother is thought to be his father's sister. This practice was common among the pharaohs as a means to maintain the purity of the royal lineage. Tutankhamun became pharaoh at the age of 9 after the death of his older brother, Smenkhare. Tutankhamun married his half-sister, Enkhsenamun, who was also his stepsister. After Tutankhamun's mysterious death, Enkhsenamun is believed to have married Ai, Tutankhamun's vizier. The details surrounding Tutankhamun's death and the circumstances of his burial in the Valley of the Kings have intrigued archaeologists and historians. The mummy of an unidentified young woman, referred to as the Younger Lady, discovered in KV35, is believed to be Enkhsenamun's sister and Tutankhamun's mother. Tutankhamun fathered 2 children with Enkhsenamun, both of whom died in infancy. The scarcity of information about Tutankhamun's life is notable, with most sources focusing on his death and the mysteries surrounding his tomb. The curse of the pharaohs remains one of the most intriguing topics in archaeology, shrouded in the mystery that surrounds this ancient Egyptian ruler. The pharaoh's curse refers to the belief that anyone who disturbs the mummy of a pharaoh is subject to a curse. Many writers and documentary filmmakers have discussed the curse, attributing it to scientific reasons such as bacteria or radiation. Although stories of curses date back to the 19th century, they multiplied following Howard Carter's discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun. Due to a series of events since the opening of the tomb, the legend of the curse began in 1922. The first attention-grabbing detail was inscriptions stating that death will strike with its wings anyone who disturbs the tranquility of the king. The discovery of these inscriptions was followed by a series of strange events, starting with the deaths of many workers involved in the excavation. It is said that a massive sandstorm occurred around the tomb on the day it was opened. Additionally, one account mentioned the sighting of a falcon, a sacred symbol for the pharaohs, hovering above the tomb. One prominent narrative about the curse revolves around the golden canary, which Howard Carter brought with him to Luxor. When the tomb was discovered, they initially named it the Tomb of the Golden Canary, adding to the mystery. According to a modified book by Al-Muhammad, when Howard traveled to Cairo, he placed his assistant's canary on the balcony to enjoy the fresh air. Listen carefully. On the day of the opening of the tomb, a faint cry was heard, like the signal of a distress call. He rushed like lightning to the balcony to be surprised by a cobra extending its tongue toward the bird inside the cage. Khalid killed the cobra, but the bird died. Immediately, it was said that the curse had begun with the opening of the tomb, as the cobra, symbolically placed above the heads of the statues of the Egyptian kings, had appeared. Here are some events related to the deaths believed to be associated with the curse of Tutankhamun. Of course, what I will say are the opinions of some researchers and historians. The ultimate knowledge is with God. George Herbert, an investor in the research team present at the opening of the tomb, died on the 5th of April, 1923, from a mosquito bite that caused severe inflammation. He was bitten in the Tutankhamun tomb. George died a month and 20 days after the tomb's opening. Secondly, George J. Gould, a visitor to the tomb, died in the French Riviera on the 16th of May, 1923, due to fever. According to sources, George was in good health before his visit to the tomb. He died 3 months after the tomb's opening. Thirdly, A.C. Mace, a member of the research team, died in 1928 due to arsenic poisoning. He died 5 years after the tomb's opening, and some linked his death to the curse. Fourthly, Captain Richard Bethel, Howard Carter's assistant, died on the 15th of November, 1929, on a bed in Mayfair. It was believed he died of a heart attack, but the symptoms on his body led to suspicions of strangulation during sleep. Richard was in very good health. He died 5 years and 9 months after the tomb's opening. Finally, Howard Carter, who opened the tomb on the 16th of February, 1923, died after a decade in Luxor on the 2nd of March, 1939. The cause of death is still uncertain, leading some analysts to believe it could be related to the curse. Most theories dismiss the curse, citing that many involved in the tomb's opening did not suffer harm. However, some still insist on the curse due to the events that occurred at the tomb's opening. What do you think? Does the pharaoh's curse truly haunt those who disturb their eternal sleep? The death of Tutankhamun remains one of the most mysterious puzzles, mainly because of his very young age at the time of death, which is considered unnatural for a pharaoh. The presence of fractures in his thigh and skull has fueled the mystery surrounding the fate of this pharaoh, often exploited in video games and movies that depict the curse of the pharaohs. Several theories have attempted to explain the mysterious story of his death. Ready? The first theory on the mummy of Tutankhamun created these theories, depicting a tragic image of a boy succumbing to a very early disease. However, a scientist from the University of Northampton in the United Kingdom found evidence that King Tut was not as weak as believed. Lucy Skinner, an expert in ancient Egyptian history, with the help of a documentary production team, recreated the king's leather armor, known as cuirass, using advanced imaging techniques. The examinations of the armor revealed signs indicating that the young Tutankhamun had engaged in numerous battles, suggesting that the fractures may be the result of these conflicts, and the complications of these fractures may have led to the death of the young pharaoh. The second theory, on March 8, 2005, after using three-dimensional computerized tomography imaging on the mummy of Tutankhamun, Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass stated that there is no evidence that Tutankhamun was subjected to an assassination attempt. He added that the opening in his skull did not result from a blow to the head, as previously believed, but rather occurred after death for the purpose of mummification. Hawass attributed the break in the left thigh bone, which had long been tied, to the embalming process. The assassination theory suggested that Tutankhamun may have fallen from his chariot, found among the possessions discovered in his tomb. The resulting inflammation from this fracture may have caused his death. The third theory, published in a study in 2010 in National Geographic under the title Secrets of King Tut's Family, revealed that the mummy of Tutankhamun showed signs of familial disorders. This theory suggested that Tutankhamun's parents might have been siblings, leading to genetic disorders that contributed to his early death. The study revealed that the cause of the death of Tutankhamun was his infection with malaria and complications from fractures in his right thigh, as mentioned earlier. The study also pointed to the presence of some hereditary diseases resulting from a genetic defect inherited in the family. According to the journal, Tutankhamun used crutches for walking, explaining the discovery of 100 walking sticks in his tomb. Initially thought to symbolize power and strength, subsequent studies revealed that Tutankhamun used them because he could barely walk. There are not many narratives or research indicating that Tutankhamun's tomb was a destination for researchers. Some historians attribute this to the lack of fame of the young pharaoh during his lifetime, as most sources focus on his mysterious death and controversial tomb. Now, let's discuss the discovery of the pharaoh's tomb and its contents that amazed the world and opened doors to exploring the past. On November 5, 1922, the British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered Tutankhamun's tomb in the Valley of the Kings, known as KV62. Excavations continued until November 25th of the same year, when the research team entered the passage leading to the royal burial chamber, finally opening Tutankhamun's tomb on February 17, 1923. One of the main reasons for Tutankhamun's fame lies in the treasures and artifacts found in his tomb, considered among the most significant royal treasures due to their exquisite nature. Tutankhamun's treasure is an unparalleled royal find, consisting of 348 items, including the magnificent golden mask and 3 coffins, one made of pure gold and the other of gilded wood. The tomb's discovery shed light on Tutankhamun's relationship with his wife and entourage, as depicted in the drawings and inscriptions. The mystery surrounding the burial shroud adds to the intrigue, as Egyptian pharaohs traditionally had 3-part shrouds. However, Tutankhamun's second shroud differed slightly from the other 2. The drawn face on it does not resemble the faces on the other shrouds, or even the face depicted on the death mask attributed to Tutankhamun. Scholars believe that this shroud, along with several other items, was originally designed for someone else, an unidentified figure. Many scholars believe that this shroud, along with other unidentified artifacts, was originally crafted for an individual whose identity remains unknown to this day. There are various theories and research suggesting the existence of a secret chamber in Tutankhamun's tomb. Using ground-penetrating radar technology, the research team led by Mamdouh el-Damity, former Egyptian Minister of Antiquities, confirmed the presence of hidden chambers in the tomb, supporting the hypothesis of additional, undiscovered rooms. The research team believes that this room may contain the burial chamber of Queen Nefertiti, which scientists have not been able to discover until now. The fame of Tutankhamun is attributed to several reasons, the most important of which is the well-preserved tomb with all its contents and treasures. This has provided rich material for the media, contributing to the dissemination of both accurate and inaccurate information, especially regarding the curse of the pharaohs. As mentioned earlier, this topic has been crucial in films and video games related to the pharaohs. After considering the facts and information we have discussed, can it be affirmed that Tutankhamun's tomb has indeed been fully discovered, or are there still hidden secrets in the tomb waiting to be uncovered? Can it be conclusively stated that his death was not an assassination, or could future years or decades overturn everything published until our present day? Does the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb mark the beginning of uncovering the mysteries of Nefertiti's tomb, revealing more conflicts among the ancient pharaohs? No one knows for sure,